Millennials, the generation that's been hustling harder than ever, are officially throwing in the towel on homeownership. But why is this happening? Is it skyrocketing prices, crippling student debt, or is there something else going on here? Stick around because I'm breaking down the real reason behind this trend and what it means for the future of home ownership. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one, so let's get into it. So first things first, the housing market is insane in terms of pricing. I don't have to tell you that. You already know that. But one thing is very interesting. I was just having a conversation with a friend yesterday, chilling out by the fire in our backyard, and we were talking about life and economics and the health of our families and whatever. And we got on the topic of housing, obviously. And we're both saying that we're both thankful that we got into the housing market, kind of early, because we've enjoyed this giant run up of equity in our houses. And if you don't own a home, we were saying, like, if you're a millennial, if you're a Gen Z especially, and you don't already own a home, like, you're fucked. Like, just the way the new world is going, the way how everything's changing, prices, inflation, food, everything. Like, if you don't already own an asset, like, you're done. And us being middle millennials, I would say if you're an elder millennial and you don't own a home, like, dude, you just totally messed up. We were born in 88, so like we're the middle of the millennial, and thank God we bought a house. But these younger millennials born in the early 90s who haven't yet bought a house, like, it makes a major difference. Those 3 to 4 years are humongous. See, because the housing market was pretty sleepy when I bought my first house, which was 2012. So like 2012 to 2016 was kind of like prime time. If you bought a house then, you're laughing. If you started to buy a house in 2017, 2018, maybe you got priced out of the housing market then, and you were kind of thinking, well, I'll just keep working at my job. I'll just keep trying to up my qualification. And then 2019 rolled around, 2020 rolled around. You know what happened in 2020? World shut down, printing of money went insane, and asset prices skyrocketed. And people who were waiting around 2018, 2019, waiting to find the perfect deal, those picky ass people, well, they got screwed. And now here we are in 2024. And again, people are making the mistake of, well, prices have to come down. There's going to be a correction of some sort. We'll talk about that in a bit. You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. That's the only way I can put it. And it makes perfect sense. If you didn't buy a house in those golden years as a millennial from 2012 to 2017, maybe even 2018, and you didn't buy then, you're done. And unfortunately, this new economy, the way it's going to go for the next 10, 15, 20 years, the way it's looking is the rich are going to get richer and the have-nots are going to have less. In the terms of, it's not just rich, like, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. I'm not talking about them. Obviously, they're going to get way richer. I'm talking about people who hold assets. If you hold assets right now, you're going to be doing very well. Specifically real estate, but it can be crypto, it can be Apple stock, Amazon stock, whatever a good quality asset means to you. But real estate specifically, we all know that. If you own a home now, you're good. Like, I know times are tough. I know eggs are expensive. Milk is, I get it. Times are in the short term are tough. But if you can make it out, and by the way, if you made it to now, okay, it's about to get better. Okay, rates are coming down in the near future, the very near future. Okay, the economy is going to see some stimulation. It's going to get better. If you made it to here, you're good. You made it through the worst part. Don't give up yet. But it's only going to get worse for the have-nots is what I'm saying. Now, the other detriment to the millennial generation specifically is stagnant wages. A lot of us, and schooling, we'll talk about both of those points right now. A lot of us were told to go to school, go to academia, get your degree, get your master's, go for your PhD. Hell yeah, man. And wages aren't keeping up. So you spend all of this time in school, and this is the biggest difference I see. See, when I got out of high school, I did my apprenticeship in carpentry. So I got right into the trades, started making money immediately. When I did go to school for my apprenticeship, I got paid to go to school. I didn't pay to go. I got paid to go. Unlike, college and university and typical academia. So anyway, I got into the workforce right away. Again, that's how I bought my house in 2012. I was 22 years old when I bought my own house. All my friends were like, I'm at university. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, they had no job, nothing. Anyway, they spent their golden years, which I always talk about, your early 20s and just your 20s entirely. That's the time for you to make money, to start investing, to triple down on your skills. Dude, don't go to no fucking bars. Don't go party every weekend like every other dickhead. This time, the 20s are everything. I made all of my money in my 20s, like my skill set level, like my equity. I made all of that in my 20s. So now my 30s, I'm just reaping the rewards. And by the time I get to 40, dude, I ain't working no more. When I'm 50, I'm going to be dirty rich. When I'm 60, oh my God. When I'm 70, holy shit. You get where this is going. But it all starts in the 20s. See, everybody that went to school and got out of college at 26, by the time they finished their fucking master's degree and shit, then they got a job making 60K because they're at the bottom of the podium, right? And they were said, oh, if you get your degree, you'll be making 100 grand a year. Well, that didn't work out. So all these people got out of university, started making 60K a year at the bottom of the totem pole. Then it took them 3-4 years to get up to like 80K a year. Dude, I was already making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year at that point as a real estate agent, as an investor, because I started early. Anyway, the point I'm making is the millennials got fucked because they missed the tidal wave, the opportunity, because they went to school on the promises of you'll be paid a lot of money. And now the wages aren't keeping up in the near term right now, in the present. So inflation's through the roof. Housing prices keep going up somehow. They keep going up. Nobody knows how. We know how. We talk about the economics all the time. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. And nobody's making money. Things are going up. This is why the millennial generation is getting clocked. Now, on top of that, these millennials who can't buy a house, well, they got to live somewhere. And, we're now 34, 35 years old. It's time to get out of mom's basement. So now we're renting. Well, we know the rental market is even worse. Affordability in the rental market is even worse. What you get for what you pay is disgusting. It's embarrassing in a lot of cases. And what are you going to do? If you work in a major metropolitan city, rent is insane. So the only way to combat that is to move across the country to some shit-ass place where there's probably no jobs, unless you can work your job remotely, which is happening more and more, which is great. But if you can, the millennials are just getting clobbered left, right, and center, which is what I'm saying. And ultimately, it's leading to a change in priorities. See, what we're always talking about is the socioeconomics, which is something I love to always discuss. But what's happening with millennials is we're getting comfortable with less. See, the boomer generation was all about consumerism. That generation was lovely for that. Get the best thing. That's why when we were kids, our houses were full of shit. This is my office. Look, it's minimalist, it's neat, it's tidy. I don't have shit everywhere. My whole house looks like this. Everything has a place, it's clean, and most millennials live this way because we grew up in households where there was shit everywhere. Bookcases with dinky knickknacks and I don't know, dude. The boomer generation was insane about just getting stuff because that generation, their parents came out of hard times through the Depression. They lived through that. So the boomers were all about get everything you want, get the toaster and the nice microwave, always upgrade to the next microwave, just stupid stuff. Our parents spent money on stupid shit. Millennials are changing their priorities. We want to live off grid is becoming more popular. Homestead, the new term trad wife, traditional wife, which is really gaining steam on social media. It basically means we want to go back to our grandparents' roots and even the parents before them. We want to have our own chickens. We want to have our own food. We're more conscious of what we're eating as millennials. We want to be healthier. We want simplistic. We don't want the big house anymore. We don't want the fancy cars. We don't want the watches. If it means we're going to be living in a fucking, 600 square foot studio, paying $3,000 a month, can't go out with friends, don't have any discretionary income because it's all going towards living costs and housing. The millennial priorities are really starting to change, and Gen Z especially, and Gen A. My son is 2 years old. He's a Gen A. I always talk about it. I think that we're seeing Gen Zs become more conservative. We're seeing millennials become more conservative, obviously, because we're in our 30s. We're getting the shit kicked out of us. Economically speaking, it always happens, by the way. When you reach your 30s and 40s, the odds of you becoming more conservative are highly likely. By the way, if you're a Gen Z watching this and you're like, I'm 24 and I'll never be a conservative, talk to me in 10 years when you're 34. I bet you will be slightly more conservative, if not a full fucking conservative. Anyway, we always talk about that. But Gen Zs in a whole are becoming more conservative, even as young 20s. And that I always talk about Gen A, I think is going to be super conservative. Now, this is normal. It happens throughout history all the time. The pendulum always swings. The millennials were the epitome of the left wing. I should go this way. The left wing pendulum swinging. All about everything. I want everybody to be happy and get free money. Okay, we did that. The millennials were all about that. Now that we're in our 30s, we're going, nah, fuck that, because what that means is government spending, high inflation, it's hurting. Okay, we're seeing the effects of ultra liberalism. And now the pendulum's coming back and it's about to go heavy. It's going to happen. Gen A is going to go full fucking right. It's going to happen. But what that looks like is not what, in the 80s where, I don't want to talk about, but like, racism and going right doesn't mean that's going to happen. It could happen. I highly doubt it. But what I'm saying is it's going to look different. The right is going to look different in a sense of it's going to be more so, I predict and suspect, more about freedom. Leave me alone. Get your hands out of my pocket. Let me do my own thing. Let me run my business. Lower taxes. Let me live off grid. Stop watching me. The right might look more like that, in the next 20 years about right wing. So it might not look like that. Might not look like racism and whatever. Anyway, but this is what I mean by the changing of priorities, the changing of socioeconomics, the changing of the economy itself. Things are changing, and millennials are finally, it looks like, starting to give up on home ownership and going, you know what? I don't want to live in the city if it's going to mean I don't have any money to do anything. So if I am going to buy a house, I'm going to live in the country and drive 40 minutes into the city to work, but I'm going to have my nice little homestead. I'm going to have my veggie garden. I'm going to have my chickens. Leave me alone. Or if they live in the city, it's going to be reducing expectation. Yes, I'm going to live in a 400 square foot studio apartment. It's fine, but at least I can go out for dinner with my friends every night. I'm just going to have fun. Forget about the nice car. Forget about the nice watches as I look at my broken, scratched up Fitbit. Millennial values and priorities are just changing and becoming more realistic of forget home ownership. Maybe this is the way I got to go. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Are millennials changing? Will there be a time where the younger millennials can finally afford a home? Is the housing market going to crash? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.